How do storms and rain affect bass fishing? Well, we found out. We'll be back in a minute and talk about what we did. So we had our next tournament in our series, and we dealt with some conditions with thunderstorms and rain during the tournament time. We saw it coming in the forecast, and so we thought this would be a great video to talk about how we prepared, what we thought about, and what we did. Some considerations on the water for stormy, rainy situations while you're maybe in a bass fishing tournament. First thing was safety. We knew what was going to happen. We knew that there wasn't any severe weather, or there was no severe weather predicted. But that's kind of the first thing in your mind. You're out on a flat surface and you're the highest thing in your boat with your fishing poles in the air. So you kind of want to, pay attention to lightning. You want to pay attention to where these fronts are. I mean, you can see clouds off in the distance and still get struck by lightning. So you've got to pay attention to lightning, how much lightning is there. If there is any, probably smart to put the rods down, get yourself lower in the boat, maybe, head to a landing and wait out the lightning portion of it. But that's just common sense. A lot of times you're on your own in tournament situations too. The director will say, hey, you can get out of your boat, you can do whatever you do to be safe, but it's up to you. So it's kind of an at-risk deal, so you got to be smart about it. So safety is number one. Also, driving in pelting rain can be difficult, so have a good pair of sunglasses that shed water. Have some goggles or something, so if you're driving, you can see others around you, and you can see. Just be smart. The other thing to consider is feeding periods, and you're going to get opportunities during the day. You can't just see storms and rain and think, well, there goes that. I practiced all week in flat, sunny, hot, calm weather, and now got my pattern finally, which is what happened to me, got my pattern finally, and now that's out the window. You have to realize that there's still going to be feeding periods, and it depends on the timing of the storms and when the fronts are supposed to be moving in and out, and the timing of major fish feeding periods, and really, that morning bite you're going to get, and that afternoon bite you're going to get. So do a little planning to time up. When is that major minor? When is that front moving through? How does that correlate to that morning period and that afternoon period when I know I'm going to get a little bit of some action again, so that you're in the right spot. Pay attention to the right things, and that kind of leads into the next thing. Rain can position fish, right? In a river system like we were in, in pre-fishing, the river was very low, the flows were way down. So, as we get deluged with rain, we could feel the current actually picking up during the day. We could feel it in places where we were pushing, maybe driving against the current, and it felt like a lake. Now we could feel the current pushing back when we were getting some of that runoff. Is it muddy? Is it clear? But look for things that are going to position. Current's going to position fish, and if the current increases, it's going to position those fish. If you're on a lake situation, you might want to get tight to cover. If there's lightning or thunder, or fish are going to be, especially shallow fish, are going to be a little spooked by it, and they're going to pull in tight to cover. So you're probably going to want to be tight to cover. They may not be roaming out on the flat during that, if there's thunder, a real close proximity to thunder and lightning. Heavy rain can drive fish close to cover, but if it's just gray and sprinkling, they can be out roaming on the flat. So think about fish positions. Do I need to be in an area in a funnel, a current break, tight to cover? Think about fish positions. I mean, you always kind of are, but more so in a rain situation, in a storm situation, you want to think about fish position and that cover. Maybe the last thing or the next thing is what to do, right? And so if I'm using a super finesse topwater, that can still work depending on how hard or lightly it's raining, because fish have seen rain before and they know what their prey is, and if they're feeding, they can differentiate. But we chose to kind of go a different route. We were going to make a lot of noise, use baits that that the fish could easily see. That was a little bit of the pattern for us in pre-fishing, so we just went with it. We didn't think the rain was going to affect that, and it turns out the rain didn't affect that. The big baits, loud noises worked for us, and we were able to fish straight through the rain doing that. There were times when the heavy rain stopped that maybe we could have switched up. There was still some finesse situations out there. We're fishing smallmouth and moving water, so we could have switched up maybe to use some hair jigs post-rain. When things calmed down, settled down, the sun came out, we just kind of blasted right through. We had the bites to do something. We just didn't convert. We had a couple of big fish blow up on big baits and just miss them. So little bit of refinement there, and I think we could have maybe even been in contention to win that tournament. We ended up in the top 10, finished 9th, which was our goal. We started out, wanted to be top 15 in this circuit because there's so many hammers in it. And then, the top 10 was nice. So one fish away from actually maybe making some noise and contending for a win. That'll come as I think we, understand that next thing to do. So, recap, fishing in storms, safety first, obviously. Pay attention to the feeding periods. Know when your barometric changes are going to occur related to the front that's moving through. Know about majors and minors, so that you're ready and in the right spot when those transitions in the day happen like they're going to happen in those frontal days. And then fish position. Be cognizant of the direction of the flow, where the fish are hanging in seams, that kind of stuff. Tight to cover. They're going to pay attention to cover more on these sorts of days. And then lastly, what to do in those different transition periods. And then you've got a storm day, a rain day isn't going to freak you out. Have good rain gear. It's nice to stay dry, and sometimes in these driving rainy days that happen all day long, right? Multiple fronts and a lot of rain, you're going to get a little wet no matter what kind of rain gear you've got on, but you can still enjoy it. You can still be successful. Be safe, and you can find success in stormy, rainy conditions, and it won't spin you out. So hope you find some of that information helpful. Please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time on the water.